administrative notes before getting my semi-disjointed remarks out of the way. I gave a Los Angeles Tea Party group heart failure a few weeks ago. I was supposed to, they have tea party groups in Los Angeles? But I did, and I said, look, LA is so kicked back. I hope you guys don't mind. Before I do my remarks, I want to be a little more comfortable and take my jacket off. This is fine. We're not a stuffy meeting here, so I did, and I said, look, I understand that there's children in the room, and this is a very, conservative group. I hope you don't mind, but before I give my remarks, I want to be comfortable, so I want to kick my sneaks off. So I did. And then I said, but you know what? I know it's a conservative audience. I know that we're in a restaurant. I know there's health code issues, but I really, really want to be comfortable. So before I give my remarks, I'd like to take my trousers off. So I did. And people said, has this guy lost his mind? What is he doing? And I didn't see what the big deal was, because what man would not take his pants off in front of a room full of conservatives when he is modeling the most awesome set of Duck Dynasty pajamas you've ever seen? So after they gave the defibrillator to a couple of the people and let them know it was going to be okay and G-rated, I said, look, I've taken my jacket off, I've taken my sneaks off, I've taken my pants off, but I'm here to talk about the left. So what I need all of you to do, take the gloves off. None of this Midwestern politeness, the left never rests, take the gloves off. Now, a couple of administrative notes before getting to my disjointed remarks. I'm proud to say that I'm one of the first 6 people who ever got through to the Obama Exchange on the very first day. It's a source of pride. I called up, I said, hello, is this the Obama Exchange? They said, yes. I said, I'd like to exchange Obama for a good president. I got the message in the mail, declined. And I know that the left is threatening another government shutdown. They do that every few months. And I know it affected you so very deeply. Here's how it affected me. Here's how I explain it. The government shutdown is like my ex-girlfriend threatening to give me the silent treatment while I'm watching football. The government shutdown is like the French going on strike. How can you tell? And it's not a government shutdown, it's an executive branch shutdown. Barack Obama took his marbles, went home, and he shut it down, which left me confused. Because if it was an executive branch shutdown, and he shut it down, why was he on TV talking every day? By the time it was over, I didn't care about a government shutdown, I just wanted a government shut up. Now, I try to stay away from pop culture, so let's get this out of the way real quickly. I heard that Bruce Jenner has recently announced that he's in the process of becoming a woman, which makes me think, oh, please, Lord, maybe one day Barack Obama will be in the process of becoming a man. I actually watched a very popular television show a few weeks ago. It featured Hillary Clinton, John Kerry, and Barack Obama. It was called 2.5 Men. Now, people say that we don't have any solutions. I've got a ton of solutions to issues. Here's my illegal immigration compromise. Now, you may not like the beginning of it, but it will work. Here's what I would do. And if you're here legally, I don't care where you came from, I love you. Illegal immigration compromise. What you do, take every illegal Hispanic Latino, give them complete amnesty. And yes, I use the A word, but here's the catch. For every person from Central America or South America or Mexico that you give complete amnesty, for each one, deport one white liberal. That will make Mexico and the United States both more diverse and multicultural. Mexicans work hard. When have you ever seen white liberals do anything productive? Blacks and Hispanics do not care about climate change. They care about feeding their families. Every idiotic idea starts with rich, white liberals. And I would hold a lottery and tell 100 lucky Mexicans, congratulations, you now have 6-figure jobs, you're California legislators, you'll do a better job. And the only reason this has not come to fruition is because the Mexican government found out they were getting Pelosi, and they said, no, we are building a border fence, you can't come in. Now, I go around the country because our freedoms are under assault, and I know some of you have seen these. This is not a Los Angeles-based fashion statement. I recently had LASIK eye surgery. It was one of the best things I ever did. I can see everything crystal clearly, so the question then becomes, what do you call somebody named Eric who can see everything crystal clearly? The answer is, well, you don't call him Attorney General. And if President Obama wants to reduce the level of gun violence in America, sir, I have some advice. Please tell your Attorney General to stop gun running. And if I hear one more time, guns and schools and death, and the only solution is an outright ban, I'm going to say, yeah, you know what, you're right, outright ban, let's just shut down the public schools. Now, enough nonsense. I come to you because our freedom is under assault. So let me tell you, as somebody who lives in Los Angeles, among a bunch of left-wing basket cases, that it is an absolute honor and a privilege to be among so many of my fellow gun-toting, Bible-thumping, flag-waving, tax-hating, freedom-loving, patriotic Americans who have taken back this country and this past November ripped that gavel out of Harry Reid's cold, arthritic hands. You are the loveliest bunch of astroturf I have ever seen in my life. And let me say something nice about Harry Reid. Harry Reid is now back to his old job, and he does a spectacular job as the lead character in Weekend at Bernie's. Now again, our freedoms are under assault. It starts at the top, and I have a message for the president. Sir, this is not, nor has it ever been, about race. None of us care if President Obama is light-skinned or dark-skinned. We've never cared. The problem we have with the president is that he and his supporters are thin-skinned. They treat any criticism like an act of war, the only time they understand war, Benghazi, and then they tell us to go along to get along and be bipartisan. Now, when a liberal tells a conservative, be bipartisan, what that liberal is really telling the conservative is, shut up and agree with me. Well, if the left would like bipartisanship, I've got some ways we could be bipartisan and we'll all get along just fine. First, let's compromise on the issue of gun control. And some of you are like, what did that hippie with the long hair from the People's Republic of Los Angeles just say? Yeah, let's compromise on gun control. Here's how it works. Liberals favor gun control, conservatives are against it. Well, let's be bipartisan. Let's simply take away all the guns from the liberals and give them to us. That way, if there's ever a conflict like Election 2000 that cannot be resolved peaceably, we will win because we will have all the guns. Let's compromise on taxes. Liberals favor higher taxes, conservatives lower taxes. Well, if the left likes socialism and wealth redistribution so much, fine by me. Let's simply take the money from them and give it to us. If they try to stop us, remember my first bullet point, we will have all the guns. Let's compromise on energy. If liberals hate oil and coal so much, let's simply ban liberals from using oil and coal and force them to live in mud huts powered by wind from Barack Obama and Joe Biden speeches. Now, I normally stay out of social issues because it divides good conservatives, but I had a little fun. I asked Rick Santorum and Jim DeMint the same questions at separate events in South Carolina during presidential fever because everybody knows where they stand on social issues. I asked them both separately. Senators, would you still be willing to be pro-life if you knew that modern medical technology would show that the child would grow up to be defective ideologically like Nancy Pelosi? Rick Santorum needed a minute to collect himself and then said, I believe there's hope for every child. Jim DeMint looked at me and said, well, Eric, that's a hard choice. He's no longer in the Senate. I think I accidentally got him fired. I apologize. I try to stay out of social issues, but they just keep dragging me into the culture wars because the left has gone over the cliff of sanity. This one leftist feminist woman was screaming at me, and finally I had to tell her, look, I don't care what the Supreme Court says. I understand your passion, but trust me, gay couples cannot have abortions. She looked at me and said, "Why not?" I said, "Because God made it this way." She said, "You Bible-thumping zealot." I said, "Do I have to draw a diagram for you? It's not going to happen." And I think she's now got the Pelosiraptor and Debbie Wasserman Schultz sponsoring legislation. I'm tired of the Pelosiraptor. I am tired of Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Debbie Wasserman Schultz acts like she knows everything. She is Sergeant Schultz from Hogan's Heroes. She knows nothing. And what happened when a flaming leftist lunatic like Debbie Wasserman gets married to a Nazi like Sergeant Schultz? They produce an angry leftist child ranting and raving at the world. Now you know the origins of MSNBC's Ed Schultz. Remember when Debbie Wasserman Schultz made those bigoted anti-Christian remarks against Scott Walker? Said that he was going to be hair-pulling and dragging by the hair, blah, blah, blah. I found out something very disturbing. Debbie Wasserman Schultz does not hate Scott Walker. She just read 50 Shades of Grey. She has a crush on him. She needs to keep her deviant hair-pulling lifestyle to herself. Now, as for the reason I became a conservative because I am the son of a Holocaust survivor. And when you are the son of a Holocaust survivor, you will not get an ounce of sympathy growing up for anything as long as you live. Teenage angst did not exist in my household. Praise was not doled out. I remember at age 14, I tried to convince my father that social studies class was too difficult and oppressive. My father looked at me unsympathetically and asked, "Did the teacher try to shoot you?" I said, "No, Dad." He said, "Get upstairs. Books, learn, personal responsibility, no victocrats in this household." Now, my parents are in South Florida. They had the butterfly ballot designed by the left, meant for the left, meant to elect conservatives. And my dad looked at me in 2000 and said, "Son, if your mother and I ever get to the point where we can't figure out a ballot, or we are too feeble to push the thing all the way through, son, at that moment we will have become liberals. Euthanize us. The house is yours." My parents are still complaining in South Florida. My dad is like, "We have got to secure the border." I said, "Dad, what have the Cubans ever done to you? What's the problem? They're conservatives. What do you have against Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz?" My dad said, "Son, I'm talking about the northern Florida border. The New York liberals keep coming." He wants us to get our best sharpshooters at the Citadel in South Carolina and keep them from reaching Georgia. Florida, Arizona, California, Texas, overrun by parasites who drain the state of services, don't work, demand new services, speak a language I don't understand. I don't recognize my own country anymore, all because